Hey, what is happening, guys? How are you doing? This is Rob of Rule of Two Review. Welcome back to... The... What the heck? Where am I? Okay, jokes aside, it's obvious what's going on. As you guys can clearly see, I've officially moved in to our new home, which means I'm in my new office, what will become my new YouTube studio. Obviously, the last few videos that I've made, I've touched on this, how I wasn't quite yet ready to get on camera because I knew I was going to have a lot to do in this room, and I still have a lot to do in this room, but I felt like I was able to get set up at least enough to just get my face on camera because honestly, I've kind of missed doing that. So feels very strange. I'm still adjusting here. And like I said, I have a lot to do. I mean, my lighting situation currently sucks. If you can't tell, I know the lighting is not very good right now. I've got nothing on the walls, nothing going on in here, no seating. I don't even have blinds on the window yet. I have to install those. Hence why I have a Star Wars blanket blocking all of the sunlight from coming in here, because with the sunlight coming in from that window, especially behind me, the overexposure is like so intense. So I had to block it just to be able to get myself on camera here. And also, it doesn't sound very good, right? I think I'm very echoey still. So plenty of stuff to do, but I felt comfortable enough at least getting, half-assed set up here so I could get on camera and discuss with you guys this kind of interesting update from Nintendo about their potential plans and release schedule for the rest of 2020, because it very ironically comes the day after I posted my other video about the fact that people have been disappointed with Nintendo in 2020. So it all kind of feeds into itself. I wanted to get on camera, and so here I am. So like I said, we're discussing a pretty small update from Nintendo that was held at a recent shareholders meeting where they discussed kind of what the release schedule for the rest of 2020 might be looking like and how it may or may not have been impacted by the health crisis going on, right? Which we've talked about at least 900 times, I feel like, on this channel in 2020, because it's been so crazy important and impactful to the gaming industry and to Nintendo specifically. It's the topic that just won't go away until it's gone away, right? Like, I can't not bring it up because it's constantly relevant to what we're talking about. And in this recent shareholders meeting, they discussed how they essentially see no potential impact to their release schedule for games they have planned for the rest of 2020, but they're also not yet ready to commit to dates and commit to those games because things could still change, which would mean that they're acknowledging that there would be impact. So it's very confusing, but it's also very telling, and so I'll read this quick quote from this Kyoto News article that actually discussed this. On the impact of the on the development of game software, a Nintendo official said at the meeting, currently, we do not see any impact on software set to go on sale this year. But there is a possibility that we cannot sell it as scheduled in the event of a second or third wave of infections. So that's essentially the quote in question. And, I commented about this on Twitter earlier today as well, and I obviously felt it was worthy of discussing in a video here, where we've been constantly questioning and wondering and curious about what's going to happen with Nintendo and the Switch specifically in the rest of 2020, because the first half of the year has been so slow. We haven't been getting Nintendo Directs. They bypassed the E3 Direct altogether. What's been going on with Bayonetta 3, No More Heroes 3, XYZ other game, Breath of the Wild 2, of course. Nintendo, are you ever going to tell us what you're doing or show us a Nintendo Direct to explain the back half of 2020, to explain your holiday lineup, to explain if you have anything that can counteract the release of the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X? These are the things we've been waiting to hear. They've yet to give them to us. But now they tell us that whatever they might have been planning to release for the rest of 2020 seems to be on schedule and is seeing no impact from the health situation. Now, I'm of two minds when it comes to what I think this might actually mean and what this is saying. Part of it is similar to what I said on Twitter. I think that this sounds good. This is a great statement. It's something that's exciting, and I think we as Nintendo fans like to hear this, that there's been no impact and all of our holiday games are still going to be on track. But I do honestly have a kind of hard time believing this because it just doesn't seem to add up, let alone the fact that they basically contradict themselves in the second part of the statement, right? Where they say there's a possibility we cannot sell these games as scheduled because of a potential second or third wave. And, I don't want to get into too much of the nitty gritty on the actual health situation. All I can say is the rest of the world seems to be doing okay as far as kind of curving this thing. Here, at least in the States where I am, it's very known worldwide we're doing a terrible job. And that we're basically already in the midst of the second wave. And so these kinds of things happening kind of show us that, yeah, the health situation's not going away anytime soon. It is making a big impact in some markets, including the United States market, which is arguably the biggest or second biggest market for gaming. I actually think it is the biggest market. And so I think that if our market is being that impacted by another wave of this thing, that means Nintendo and other companies might have to kind of take a step back and say, yeah, this is too intense for us to continue on our release schedule. The other thing I take away from this, though, is the fact that they're kind of making it sound like they do have games that they plan to release still in 2020, right? And I say it that way because that has been the mystery. We haven't known if that's actually been Nintendo's plan or not. And so when they say something like, we don't see any impact on software set to go on sale this year, it's like, I guess that means that they have games they plan to sell this year, right? And we don't know of any of those games right now. Literally, Paper Mario and Pokemon Snap and now Pokemon Unite are the only Switch games I can think of, at least first party, that we know to go on sale still in 2020, right? Or actually, Pokemon Snap doesn't even have a date, now that I think about it. And Doom Eternal is like the only third-party game I think we know of, like significant third-party game. Deadly Premonition 2 and Doom Eternal. No More Heroes 3, Bayonetta 3, games like that. So a very small selection of first-party, a very small selection of third-party, even though No More Heroes 3 and Bayonetta 3 I think will be amazing. But if all of these games stick to 2020, it's like, that's it. But none of those are really the kinds of games that become your big holiday title, that become a title worthy of combating next-gen consoles from the other guys. And it's not really a lineup of games that fill out the rest of the year. So they must have something planned according to this statement. I mean, there's the Mario remasters, which has just been this constant mystery that we all like the idea of and we want to believe in, and they honestly sound real, but Nintendo's yet to show them to us because they've yet to give us Nintendo Directs. We don't know what they're doing. And that's the whole thing with this statement and what's going on, is that it seems to conflict with the fact that they could have otherwise given us the E3 Nintendo Direct that they chose to cancel if, in fact, they do have a lineup of games throughout the rest of the year, and if they're telling us that they see no impact to the releases, that they're on schedule. Why wouldn't you have given us that E3 Direct, or at least some other Direct that's a normal Direct, not a Direct Mini, but a regular Direct that could show us some of these games that apparently you're talking about? Now, a counter-argument to this whole point that I'm making is a good counter-argument, and it's actually something I've said consistently throughout the beginning of the year, and it does still technically apply here, right? And that is that they are still acknowledging that another wave could still impact release dates, right? So the first half of their statement says nothing's being impacted, everything is staying on schedule. Immediately followed up with, but also they might not be on schedule. And so in a situation where they have to be aware that the schedule might not be able to be something that they can stick to, maybe that's why they decided to not hold an E3 Direct or a regular Direct just yet, because they think that, yeah, things are on schedule now, but it could change, so we don't want to commit to anything too early. And it's a very good counter-argument to this whole situation that I'm talking about here. It does make sense, and it's why I do think, at least in the beginning of the year, they weren't giving us Nintendo Directs and release schedules, because early on, when this thing was just blowing up, they didn't know if they could stick to any release dates, so why discuss them in a Nintendo Direct? I understood it at that time. And to be fair, yeah, I still do kind of understand it even right now. But I do see the situation as slightly different because we're farther into the year. We are seeing a lot of the world started to curve the impact of what's going on here, even if the United States is not one of those countries doing it, unfortunately. Embarrassingly, the fact that we're not one of them. But still, much of the world is. And we're in the month where E3 was supposed to happen, that we know that they had an E3 Nintendo Direct ready to go. So we're at the point where if they're willing to come out and literally state to the world that there is no impact and that they do think everything is on schedule, you know, in the 6th month of the year, I think we're at least at the point where, okay, you probably should start to share some more stuff with everybody, okay? You guys know I'm not a demanding person. I'm not an entitled person. I've said several times, including in just my last video 2 days ago, that I understand Nintendo having to change their business and their model, and I'm willing to give them slack to have the time that they need. I have no problem doing that, and that is still true. But I find this statement coming out now to be something that kind of muddies the water and becomes frustrating to me. If they're willing to finally come out and say something about their release schedule in relation to the health situation, they might as well come out and say, hey, we don't know what's going on, so we're just not ready. But they come out saying that there is no impact and scheduling is on point. And so that conflicts with the idea that I've been saying that maybe they need time to figure it out. Basically, Nintendo just said they don't need that time. So here is where I kind of get myself to the point where it's like, okay, if that's the case, then yeah, maybe we should start actually hearing something from you with what these games are supposed to be in July, August, September, October, November, December. Like, what are these titles that are sticking to schedule according to you guys? Let us know what they are. Let's see the release dates for No More Heroes 3 and Bayonetta 3. What's going on? Are they coming or not? Like, I would say because of this statement that now is the time, you should probably talk to us about it. It's honestly a very, very tricky and nuanced situation to discuss, you guys. It's nuanced from Nintendo's perspective to talk about it, and it's nuanced for me and people like me to discuss it and share our opinions. There's no 100% way to feel or be on either side of the fence here. It's tricky, and so, you know, I'm trying to battle in my own brain how to feel about this. And I'm battling with the fact that, on one hand, I get the weirdness of 2020. I get the health situation. You've got to change your business model and how you relay your messaging to us. And I understand, and I'm willing to allow you that time. But on the other hand, now you're coming out and saying everything is not impacted and everything is on schedule. So, okay, there's the transparent messaging I've been wanting to hear from you all year, Nintendo, and you're telling me everything is good. So if it's good, then maybe now you should start showing us the games. I would never be so demanding and entitled to be yelling into the heavens like, Nintendo, show us everything right now. Like, I haven't been doing that all year. So now that you tell us this, now I feel like it's at least okay to say, show us what's going on. So either way, I'm beating this dead horse, and I'm getting to the point where I'm repeating my points, and I obviously don't want to do that too much more. I'll just say that, like I said, it's tricky, it's nuanced, and we're constantly at the mercy of whatever Nintendo is going to do, whatever they want to share with us, and whenever they're going to do it. And right now, this statement is just all we have to go on. It sounds good, like I said at the beginning, but I need to hear more before I truly believe it. And I need to see more before I truly believe it. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see what's going on. For now, it's all about Paper Mario, I guess. You know, that comes out in a couple weeks, and that's just what we have to go on. So, these are my thoughts and opinions. I think it'll be a polarizing topic. I can see people being, I guess, adamantly disagreeing with my take here, but this is just how I feel and how I see it. So, I want to hear your opinions as well. Talk about them in the comments below. And with that, this video is a wrap. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I will catch you next time on another video.